bless you.
Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
She wants to be on stage by 9.
No, she wants to be on stage at 9.
That's why I said I got to go up now.
Yeah.
You've already stopped the music. 1, 2.
Come on, let's go.
Hello, 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 hello. Let's go. How you guys doing? Oh, just like it. You wouldn't swear you just came to a place to find out how to be financially free. All right, Dan, don't worry. We can cancel. Do you guys want to be financially free? Is that why you're here? You better get excited. Because that concept should be very exciting to you. Unless, of course, you're going, yeah, I'm not so sure. But then why did you spend money coming here? So, guys, how are you doing, by the way? Who said cold? We'll warm you up. I promise. We'll warm you up. So you got an incredible couple of days, incredible day here with Anne. And we've got a whole lot of people. Harold, how many people online so far? Close to 200 people online from all over the world. All right? Literally, because Anne's community goes all over the place. So I think there's people like really early in the morning and people really late at night that are joining us from Australia and Europe and even the US. So that's very, very cool. And you guys are here in Johannesburg in the room. So who's more special? No, they're more special. I got to be nice to them. So shh. They're at home. All right, so guys, we're going to have a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of energy. Anne is not a kind of stand on stage and go, all right, people, this is what you need to do. She's a person that's going to want to shift you, because for you to shift your behavior around money, which is what it's really about, you're going to have to shift in this room. So you guys going to play along? Really? I'm not very convinced. Everyone stand up quickly. When I call Anne up here, I want you to make a lot of noise. Even if you're on the webinar. Maybe we can hear you from London if you shout loud enough. I'm kidding, by the way. Don't shout, because your kids might think that's a little bit strange if you start screaming. But I want you to make a lot of noise, because this is a very, very special woman. How many of you have seen or know Anne Wilson? Okay, how many of you, this is the first time you're actually going to see her speak live? Wow, that's quite a lot of you. So that's brilliant, all right? So I just want to test it, because she's a very special person. I want to make sure that you guys are going to be very excited when she comes up. So I'm going to count to 3, and you're just going to make a whole lot of noise. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Like half. Now Anne's going to come. She thinks we're calling her. So what do you think, Ursula? That was about a what? 5 out of 10, 50%. So you think you can do better? You think you guys can do better? Who believes they made 100% of the noise they could have made right now? None of you, exactly. So imagine that the level of noise you make when Anne comes up here is going to be directly proportional to the level of financial freedom and the quality of life you're going to have because of it. So if you want to be quiet, that's okay. That's okay, because it's true. All right, guys, ready? Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the awesome, amazing Anne Wilson!
Thank you. Oh. Hello. Oh, wow. Thank you, my darlings. Sit down. Feeling awesome. And is that our webinar camera over there? And to everybody joining us from around the world, thank you for being here on this Sunday morning. Wow, bright and early, you've got up, got warm. Luckily it wasn't too cold here in Joburg. But wow, let me just take you all in. It's so fantastic seeing you all. I just want to so thank you for being here. And, you know, for being here online. I don't take this lightly. I don't take it lightly, the energy it's taken you to be here in the room, the money, the time, the decision to choose to do this for yourself, to spend this time. And I just want to so acknowledge you for that and just really, really welcome you. So, you know, how many in the room here are from Johannesburg? Yay! Big round of applause for Josie. Who's from outside of Johannesburg? Hey, where you? Hello, my darling. So she's an FFU. I see you, Delete. Who else? Brilliant. Where are you from? Peter, so good to have you. I'm a Zulu chick. That's how I grew up in KZN. On the webinar, I'd love you to type in and let us know where you're joining us from. Because this is amazing. Maybe, Gerard, you can shout out where we've got. So for you on the webinar, we've got the amazing Gerard and Diana supporting you. And I really want you to play along. I'm going to ask you today, really participate. You know, some of you say you're a bit cold. Well, you won't be cold for long. We're warming up this room. But the more you engage, the more you do, really helps your body lock in what we're learning. So get engaged. So have we got some people on the webinar telling us where they're from, Gerard?
Goodness, yeah, we've got people from America, London, George, South Africa, Cape Town,
Yes!
Spain,
Spain!
Wellington, Pretoria,
Oh, this is just so fantastic.
Harare.
So around the world, and, you know, I was thinking this morning, I was just getting ready for the session and thinking about success. And one of the key principles, and the very first principle of success, is pitching up for it. Do you know how many people, well, in a couple of years' time, they'll look at you, you're living your absolutely free life, you've got these assets working for you, and they're going to say, you're lucky. Wow, you're so lucky. And you'll go, yes, I am. I'm so lucky that I chose to get up on that Sunday, that I chose to pitch up, that I chose to do the work. Of course, there's an aspect of, you know, we can stumble across things. Something stumbles across our path. But you're the ones that said yes. You've reached out. You've made that commission. And, you know, thinking about success, I just thought about there's really 8 key points to success strategy that I've used in every aspect of my life. And the very first point of success is knowing what you want and why. It's the most fundamental starting point. What do you want and why do you want it? Very, very, very first point. And then once you know your what and your why, you've got to know, well, where is that? What is that destination? So what is that point you're wanting to get to? And where are you now? So you can do the points between. This is the key second vital principle to creating success in your life. The third is then understanding that in the specific area, what is the market you're going to be playing in? What's that terrain? Get familiar with it. And what is the level that you need to be playing at in order to achieve the thing, that goal that you've set yourself? Really important, that third aspect. Now, once you know your what and your why, you know your wheres, where you are, where you're going, you know the terrain you're playing in, next key aspect is find yourself a coach, a trainer, a mentor, somebody who's already successful in that world you're going to be going and playing in. Super, super important that they can point you, show you, guide you, teach you along the way. Point number 4. The number 5 is select your strategy. You know, whether at the moment we're just bombarded with sport. So again, I want to acknowledge you. I mean, who puts an event with the Wimbledon final, the football final? well, so I want to acknowledge you. We'll be able to get some of the updates, but well done for being here. But whether it's cycling, whether it's tennis, whether it's becoming great with money, you choose a strategy. There are literally infinite number of ways to get there. There are going to be different ones if you're playing football versus whether it's financial freedom. But choose a strategy, commit to it, and take action on it so that you're really doing what needs to be done. This is super, super key. Now, the next steps are often the ones that people miss out. The next step is find your tribe. Surround yourself with a support structure that is going to protect you from you. That is going to protect your vision and your goal and your actions from you. The sad reality is there's a part of us called our ego that hates change. It believes any change is scary. Your ego, often there's a lot of stuff in the personal development world, there's, shaming on the ego, but actually it's just this part of us that is designed to protect us. So it can believe that any change is scary. And so often we can set the best intentions and we can get the strategy and we can start taking action. But if we don't have a support structure that keeps us going, it's very easy to sabotage ourselves and slip back into just the world that we know and our own comfort zone. So the next step is, once you've got that support structure in place, is take action. You've got to do the work. So if you were hoping to come today and get some sort of silver bullet, where I said we, implant that chip in you, and that's the end of it. So I hate to break it to you early in the morning, but you've got to do the work. There is work to be done. But I think this is really, really exciting. We'll speak about it a bit more later today. I'm sure it might come up. I'm a big lover of work. I love work. I just think we need to reframe what work is. I hate the fact that so many people are doing work that they don't love because they believe they have to, because it's the only way to make money. But when all I believe work is bringing our creativity, our energy, our life force to creating stuff in the world, to expanding, which is really great. And when we can approach our money stuff from that energy, it just changes the world for us. It really, really does. And just takes it to a whole nother level. And now, as you're doing that work, you also focus on that strategy. I see so many people getting distracted by that bright, shiny object syndrome. Maybe it's this one, and they doubt themselves. Consistency. Consistency wins every single time. And then the final step of any success strategy is monitor how it's going. Monitor, get your results, and if you need to make adjustments, make the adjustments, and then get back to focus and just keep taking baby steps. So that is it. So you're already successful, and you're already proving that you're prepared to step up and do what it takes for your wealth. Just the fact that you're here on the webinar, in the room. So a huge congratulations. Now, there are two really important things that, on top of that strategy, that I've found really are vital creating the life you want. And the first one is motive. So we discussed that a bit in the success strategy, but I'm going to stress it over and over again. Motive matters. If we don't know why we're doing something, and we can't really relate and make that why so big and juicy that no matter what comes our way, we don't get committed to it, we will fall off that course. Motive matters. This is your second most important thing. But I think the most important thing to actually creating the life you want is permission. Can you give yourself permission to have the life that you really want? I want you to really feel into what that means, because when we truly give yourself permission, it's one of the most exhilarating things, but it can also be one of the most terrifying things, because it also means we've got to drop the excuses. But at the end of the day, it's only ourselves that can give ourselves that permission to have the life that we really want, and permission is the most super, super important thing. So right now, I would love to just ask you, and on the webinar, type in your answer. I'm hoping it's going to be a yes. Right now, shout out yes. Are you prepared to give yourself permission to have the freedom and the financial abundance that you really want? Yes, can I see some hands? Brilliant, because if not, that's okay, we can work on it. Because understand what you've just done is huge, because so often we think somebody else has to give us permission. I don't take this lightly, what you've just said, because I know I've had to work on this piece for myself for years, the permission piece. The permission to even allow myself to be on stage. The permission to claim what I want. We live in a society that often shames abundance, shames dreams, shames people going for what they want. So I really hope you understand and feel the impact of what you've just done. That permission to do whatever it takes to give yourself the life that you really want. So, hell yeah. So I want you to turn and welcome everybody else that's here, because you are amazing. And I just want to thank you for this, because somebody in this room is likely to also going to be one of your freedom buddies. They may very well be part of your support structure that helps you stay in the course. So turn to the person on your right and say, you made it. No, okay, that didn't quite work, but hey, on the webinar, you can just say, you made it, yay! Turn to the person on your left and say, I'm so glad you're here. Turn to the person behind you, the table, And I know you're looking at their heads, but the principle counts. And just say, I am so glad you gave yourself permission to choose you. Can you say it? I'm so glad you gave yourself permission to choose you. Yes! How ruddy awesome is that? You know, there's two myths that I want to just really, where am I meant to point? There we go. That right up front, I want to dispel. And one of the first big myths that we're led to believe is that change takes a long time. How many of you believe that change takes a long time and it's a lot of work? Great. Well, that's complete BS. Change doesn't take a long time. Decisions take a long time. Decisions to make that change forever. You know, I smoked for 30 years. I can't tell you how many times and how long it took me to decide to make a change and become a non-smoker. It mostly took me 29 of those 30 years. So the faster we can learn how to make discerning decisions is also absolutely vital to having the speed and effectiveness in creating the life you want. Because in fact, change happens in a heartbeat. When you truly decide that you want something, that you're going to have it, that you've given yourself permission for it, change happens as soon as you decide. Because that's when action starts happening. So the faster you can learn how to decide and the quicker you can make decisions and the faster you can trust your decisions, the better you're going to be. And this is so vital on your wealthy journey, learning how to make decisions that are aligned to you and to your vision and your highest good. So change doesn't take time, decisions do, but you can learn how to make decisions significantly faster. So the second myth that we want to cover is that our worth is defined by what we have. We're in a society that tells us our self-worth is defined by our net worth. That our self-worth is defined by the car we drive, the house we live, the suburb we're in. You know, whether we fly economy cattle class, economy class, business class, or first class in an airplane. Do you turn left or right, or if Emirates, do you go up or down? You know, there's nothing wrong with having great things, but I think one of the greatest tragedies and why many, many people live in a life of poverty of money and poverty of spirit and emotions, is where we've been led to believe that our wealth is defined by something outside of us. As long as we associate and attach our financial well-being and our worthiness to something outside of us, we will always be poor. And when it actually comes to our money actions and actually getting assets working for us, as long as we have attached our identity, our self-esteem, our net worth to how our assets are performing, to what investments we have, to the home we live in, to that stuff, we actually prevent money from doing what it's meant to do. We almost become like this big, heavy baggage on money. So one of the big journeys I'm going to keep asking you to do and keep asking you to take is to uncouple you from your money. Uncouple your identity. So when you can start coming to the leadership of your money from a place of knowing that you are already infinitely worthy, there is nothing that you can do, have, be, create, experience, live in, drive that can make you worthy. I truly believe that each of us are born these extraordinary, amazing diamonds with infinite potential, with everything we need already within us, with all of the creativity, the adventure, the energy to create the most extraordinary lives, the lives that we can imagine and see and create. I believe that's all in us. But almost as soon as we pop out the womb, we are told what we can't do, what we can't have, that we're not enough, that we've got to do other things, that we've got to have other things in order to be worthy of love, in order to be worthy of life itself. And so when we come from the point knowing that in fact we are these bright, shiny diamonds, That's when we start reclaiming. And I really invite you today, really anchor into that and know that what you're doing and what we're doing on this journey and learning how to master your money is actually just brushing off all of this dirt, these layers, to reveal your true amazing self, never to create it. Doesn't that just feel more liberating when we can come at our financial freedom knowing that we're doing it and we create it because we are already worthy, because it's our divine birthright, because we're already there, rather than as a way to try and define our right to life. And this then allows us to move to what I call the 4 freedoms. So we're here, and it's called the Freedom Workshop. You know, I speak about financial freedom, and we're going to go deeper into what that means specifically. But really, at the end of the day, why are we here? Why are we here? We're here to master money stuff. We're here to have more money in your life. But nobody actually wants just a big pile of money. I don't know. Maybe Jacob Zuma or somebody likes to roll around on some money, but I don't think even there. What we want is what money gives us. And I think there are 4 primary freedoms that money gives us. So it's really important to remember, because often we think we want more money. And this can end us being distracted and going down the wrong path. When we can remember what we want, remember I said it's really important to get clear about what you want. That is really important, because and I see so many people think that what they want is more money. No, when we know what we want, we understand that money is one of the inputs. It's a vital ingredient, and an ingredient we need to master. But it's an input, it's a means to the ends, and the ends we want are one of these 4 freedoms. In fact, all of these 4 freedoms. The first freedom is freedom of time. Hell yeah. Imagine, at the end of the day, how many of you just say your life is pretty damn busy? Pretty damn full. If I had to say, okay, you need to spend 10 hours a day to learn this next asset strategy, how many of you go, oh, fuck. I'm allowed to say that in here. Because the truth is, bloody hell, our lives are full. Days are full. And that's what I so honor you being here. So when you imagine, if you no longer have to work for money, if you choose to work for money, if you choose to as a privilege or an expression of your life force, and you're doing something you absolutely love and you happen to get money for it, but that's from choice. Imagine if you no longer have to go to work. You no longer have to pitch up on your job or your business in order to earn money. What would that freedom of time enable you to do? I'd just love you to really think about that, and maybe in your workbook, write down what would you do with that free time. Sometimes it can be a little bit like, oh God, because we've been so busy believing that we can't have what we want, that we've forgotten what we'd actually do. They often say, I laugh and say, freedom's a bitch. I shouldn't actually, that's not a very good sales thing up front, but one of the challenges is when we've actually created this freedom is we've no longer got excuses to say, well, what would I do with that time? How would I spend it? Would I spend it more with those I love? Would I read all of those classic books? Would I maybe go and study theater? Would I write a book? Would I go and travel? Would I go and work in a wildlife sanctuary and look after animals? What is it that you would do with that time? So freedom of time. Oh my God, just choosing whatever you want to do with it. The second vital freedom is freedom of location. You can be wherever you want to be. And this freedom of location is super, super important, because not only, you also want to create this freedom of location so that not only can you live anywhere or travel anywhere, but you also want to be able to operate your life anywhere. The likes of, how many of you read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week? Now the great thing is, I know Tim and I know him well, and he's an amazing guy, and he mostly works 60 hours a week. Why? Because he wants to, because he loves to. But what I love about the 4-Hour Work Week, it really starts us thinking about how are we effective? How do we use our time to get what we want? But one of the key things, he talks about location freedom. So setting up your life that you can operate it from anywhere. So beginning of August, I'm going to be going diving in the Red Sea. I love scuba diving. It's one of my deep passions. I love wildlife. I love this glorious world we get to live on. I love to be in the ocean. I love to be on the ocean. I love to be in the bush. That's one of my joys, that I get to choose to how I spend my time. And I know that I will be able to sit on the deck of a beautiful yacht. So I'm going to be sailing for a week in the Red Sea, just doing liveaboard diving. And I will be able to open my computer, check in, and check on my stock market portfolio. I'll be able to check on my assets. So not only can I live and be wherever I want, and my assets keep working for me. My money keeps growing and expanding, but I can also manage it from anywhere. So you want to be thinking in terms of location freedom in this kind of way. How can you live your life? But also, if you didn't have to live where you currently live, a lot of financial freedom university students live in London and elsewhere, and they say, Anne, you don't understand, London's so expensive. I say, well, if you want to be in London, great, but stop bitching about it. Then set up your assets to support that lifestyle. If you want fewer lifestyle, go and live in Thailand. Come and live in South Africa. When you can make a choice, you also can choose the cost of your lifestyle. This is location freedom, because you're not locked into having to be in a place where you earn that money. Really key. The third freedom is freedom of association. Oh my God, this is so important. How many of you have heard the sort of phrase, there was some study that your income will be within 5 to 10% of the 4 or 5 people that you spend most of your time with? Right. Now, whether there is a study of that or not, I don't know. But I do know that your net worth is going to correlate very closely to who you spend a lot of your time with. So if you're spending a lot of time with people who are just bitching about being broke the whole time, who are complaining that there's never enough money, who's telling you that investing is scary and can't wait to tell you about their Uncle Sipo who tried to invest in the stock market and lost everything, you're going to be living in fear and contraction. And you're not going to take actions, which is going to significantly impact your life. Now imagine if you're spending time with people who are telling you about their deals that they've just put together, their investment property, the new conversion they've just done from commercial to residential. Somebody else is telling you how they're able to live in the Bahamas for 6 months of the year, completely free. Not only does it lift you up and expand you, but you get exposure to stuff that you didn't even know. When I started my journey, and I'll share a bit more about my story in just a few moments, but when I discovered this world of assets, asset-generated income, it literally as though there was this other world, that there'd been this mirror or this shield that there was this world of us workers who were taught to work hard for money, study hard, get a good job. And then there was this other world of people who knew that was actually BS. Who knew that they needed a whole lot of people doing that, because that's what just keeps the cogs of industry going. But the people who understood true wealth knew that assets were meant to be doing the working. And their job were to be leaders to those assets, to create those assets, to find them. And so their attention was in a totally different place. Now, when you so often, we don't know what we don't know. And this is why association is so important. This is why the success strategy is finding people who are familiar with the terrain of the world you want to go into. Because if we don't even know what opportunities are out there, then we can have the best intention and will in the world. So freedom of association is also about, imagine not having to spend time in a job or people that bring you down. And this is so great. This comes with the discernment of decisions. When we also have this freedom, it's super important that we consciously choose who we hang out with, what we bring into our minds. How many people start their day by switching on the news? And if that isn't enough, they get into their car and they have the news playing on the way to work. And then they speak to people around the water holes. They get their coffee and go, oh, bad day. Oh, the world's in just such a cuck place. What are we going to do? There are literally millions and millions and millions of things we can associate with, that we can choose to give our focus to. And it's our job to do that. And if you've got people in your life that bring you down, drag you down, that are constantly focused on what what you can't have, who are cynical and negative. It's your job. And you've got to understand you are free to choose to disassociate. Does that mean you need to be nice? But just don't get sucked in there. Spend less time with those people. And if it's your family, so be it. You can still love them. Just don't get sucked in and spend as much time. And make sure that you're associating your energy, your expression with those that do lift you up. And then the fourth freedom, which I think is one of the most important of all, is the freedom of purpose. Now, this can sometimes sound quite heavy, but it's about freedom to direct your life force to the things that completely fill you up. Now, often we can get caught up to like, what's my purpose? Believing that, again, we have to make a big, significant difference in the world. And that's great if it really is your purpose. But in a way that can also sometimes be a story to keep us small. I truly think at the end of the day, the only purpose we have is to fully experience life in whatever that means for us. You know, there's a phrase that says, the world's greatest need intersects at the place that is our greatest joy. So you can say our greatest joy is the thing that the world most needs. Now I want to say our purpose is to find the thing that brings us the greatest joy. That's the most important thing. Because what does it mean? What am I talking about joy? Joy doesn't for me necessarily mean like, woo! We're always like, yay! It can be some of that. But sometimes joy is just that beautiful, deep, peaceful in life. Joy is when we're free of anxiety and worry and stress and shame and self-recrimination. Joy is when we're fully able to just engage and be with life and be curious. And if something comes along, we say, why not? You know, if not me, who? If not now, when? Yes, hell yeah. The joy of being able to connect fully and be present so that at the end of the day, we can slide sideways into that grave going, shit, that was a life well lived. That's what I believe our purpose is. And I truly believe when we're all living from that place, that then meets the world's greatest need. So I think we can almost let the world's greatest need go. And know that it will come about as a residual effect of us being fully alive. And this is so, so vital and so important. But the big challenge is, for most people, oh, we've done the miss. Woo! What's happening with... For most people, their life isn't that. Their life isn't a life filled with joy. Why is this taking so long? You know, we're here for these freedoms. We're here to also have lovely and nice things. But at the end of the day, I truly believe that we all long to make that difference with our life by living that life of greatest joy, of greatest purpose. But most people never, ever get to experience that because they're so busy, one, trying to earn a living and work for money just in order to survive. They worry. They've got, you know, and so their life force gets taken up by everything other, by just survival, and so often related to money. Is there going to be enough? Waking up at 3 a.m, stressed. And, oh, guys, what's going on? Maybe I need to move the little thing somewhere else. Anyway, we'll get there. The terrifying thing is, 95% of the world never experience anything close to the freedoms we've spoken about. And to me, that's a deep tragedy. 2 out of 3 households could not come up with 10,000 rand, 800 pounds, 600 pounds, you know, $1,000 in cash if they needed to for an emergency without going to debt or having to borrow it in some form. Or rob their asset pots, which is even scarier. 93% of retirees, so people are coming up to retirement, and this is around the world. This is in the US, this is in the UK, this is in Europe, Australia, South Africa. people who've worked their entire lives have to reduce their standard of living just to survive, just to have enough, not to thrive. And this is at the end of a whole long life. Whee! Brian! Thank you. Freedom to have amazing people in your lives. You sorted that out, Brian. He's got some unique abilities. We'll get to unique abilities. 4 in 7 of those retirees have to find additional employment, if they can, just to get by. And this I find terrifying. 50% of the population, and this is across the entire age spectrum. So we're talking about working population, so I'm not talking about 2-year-olds, although your 2-year-old should have assets, have no investments whatsoever. No investments. They're stuck in the cycle that there's never enough. There's not enough. There's not enough. Maybe next month, next year, they'll make a difference. And 82% of people who do have some sort of investment have no idea what that money is actually doing. They've got no idea what that money is invested in, whether it's working hard for them, what the fees are on it. How many of you have already got some form of investments? Maybe stock markets, investment property, businesses? Brilliant, great. And for those of you who don't yet, fantastic, because today's the day to start. So for those of you who didn't put your hand up, how many of you have got some kind of retirement annuity, pension fund? And for you on the webinar, let me know as well. Okay, so now if you've got one of those, you are already an investor. You've got assets, you've got investments. And for most people, this kind of investment is actually their biggest portfolio, is their biggest investment. But most people significantly ignore it. They're so busy working, they go, oh, well, that doesn't matter. You know, my company's put in place, or I've put in place. And they don't actually see how it's performing. And believe me, the financial industry loves the fact that we do that. It loves the fact that we ignore how our money's doing, because it's allowed the financial industry to get seriously fat and super amount of money on our ignorance. But no more. No more. Because that's average stats for men and women. But for all of us chicks in the room, woohoo! Yay! Come on, all the women. Come on, yay! All of you online, it's time for us to really step up, because the stats are even more devastating. And for all you amazing men in the room, please get your women up and liberated on this side, because the world needs everybody living their truth, living their full potential. And right now, almost 50%, there's a lovely phrase, it actually comes from Mao Zedong in China, it says, women hold up half the sky. So we've got half the sky not being able to hold up their part, because they're not financially empowered. And that is just super, super terrifying. For most women, they've got 70% less invested than men. So if we said on average, 50% of people don't have any investments. Of that, 70% less than men. Women, come on. And there's lots of reasons around it, but we've got to shift this. And in relationships, on average, a woman has 82% less than their partner in a retirement pot, which makes them super, super vulnerable. And it's no wonder that that money challenges and money fights are cited as one of the #1 causes of relationship breakdowns. And there's also huge inequity, and why so many people stay in relationships that don't serve them, because they believe it's their only economic option. Oh my God, and let's talk about dragging the world down in that way. Now, women make up 66% of the workforce, or do 66% of the work in the world. Many of that is essentially extremely low-paid, almost no-paid work. Women grow 50% of all the food in the world, yet they earn less than 15% of the wage bill. And women own 1% of property in the world. Now, I'm talking around the world, so obviously it's different in different countries, but it is no wonder we've got such challenges where we are not able to bring both masculine and feminine, everybody's life force to the world fully. And so this is why we need to adjust this, and this is why I believe you're here. Because 2 out of 3 people will have to rely on the charity of strangers, maybe their kids, their family, in order just to survive, let alone thrive at some time in that life. Now, the fact that you're here tells me you're not going to be that. Because if we were to look at it, we'd say, like, shit, 2 out of 3, that's scary. You can look around and go, is it you, is it you, is it me? But it's none of you in this room because you chose to be here. And that's the real difference. So how do you live a life with these freedoms? How do you live a life being able to live that joy and fully express it? Well, you do it with assets. And this is absolutely vital. Only assets can create your freedom. And through the whole day, I'm going to be pounding this into it. By the end of the day, you're going to be asset lovers. You're going to have got this message because it's such a vital message, but it's a message we're not taught. So you create freedom by building up assets that earn income for you. It's not about you earning more money. Super important. And this is financial freedom. And that is absolutely why we're here. So how of you want to know what we're going to be covering today? Yes! Okay. For all of you who like to have your checklist, brilliant. So this morning, we've got lots of awesomeness. So at around about 12:30, we're going to be taking lunch, and Brian will share with you more for all of you VIPs. You come and have lunch with me. But everybody, you're all getting lunch today. We've got to keep our bellies full so our brains can work. We'll come back this afternoon for spontaneous combustion. You up for that? Hey? Aren't you excited about this? Yay! What an agenda! And then tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday. Oh. Monday is coming. We've got a really, really big full day. And I'm just going to ask you to play full out. I'm going to ask you to keep yourself hydrated. In fact, I see that there aren't water you guys don't have enough water on the table. I'm going to be asking you to move your bodies. This is so that you can get oxygen, that your lymph can move so you can be fully present and awake. I'm going to ask you to get yourself hydrated. In fact, I might very well ask you to go and get, just after the second, go and get yourself water. It's super, super important when we understand that creating your wealthy life means all of you has to be present. You can't just create your wealthy life with your brain. It's your body. It's your focus. It's how you drive it. It's how you breathe. We need fully functioning selves. So you're going to keep yourself hydrated. You're going to keep yourself energy top up, food. We're going to move. So the reason why I'm going to ask you to move is to support you to be able to be fully present and get everything that you came here for today. But I'm also going to stretch you. So here's the truth. Your financial freedom and what you're seeking and wanting is currently outside of your comfort zone. There's a bubble for you, which is a world that's familiar to you. It's what you know. It's what you feel comfortable with. And by its very nature of what we're familiar with, we stay in it because it's comfortable. It's what we know. If your freedom was already in your comfort zone, you wouldn't be here because it would already be what we know. So what we have to do is we've got to stretch your zone. We've got to stretch your zone of competence. We've got to stretch what you're aware of, what you know. And part of that means that there's going to be times in the rest of the day that you're going to be uncomfortable. So when you gave yourself permission to fully be here and claim what you want, I'm asking now for your permission to stretch you out of your comfort zone. Do I have your permission? Yeah. Okay, for you at the back at that table, we've got a low permission at that table. Okay, yes, I'm just wanting to make sure. Because I'm going to remind you. So if you start feeling uncomfortable going, what's this? And you bitch. You can't make me do this. Or why is she going on about that? Remember, I'm doing it so I can help you get to where you want to be outside of that comfort zone. So literally, I want you to jump up right now if you don't have water. Literally, get water, get back to your table, because I'm seriously worried about the lack of water on your tables. Go, 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 go! Let's move, move, move! Those bodies! Get some water. Can we have some music? Get some water on the webinar too. Get yourself hydrated. Move your bodies. Go, go, go. Can we have some water? Music while everyone gets water, Gerard? Steve? Yay! Okay, come on. Where's everybody not going outside? Get water, come on. Hey, got your water, and now drink some of it. Yeah, you actually want that water in your bodies. Okay, brilliant. Great, get back to your seats. So now you've got this workbook. Woo! So you can take notes as we go along. And here in the back section, there's heaps of area for you to take notes. I really encourage you to do that. And you've also got your ahas and your key takeaways. Really, if something resonates for you and you say, wow, I want to remember that, I want to take it, please don't just think, yes, I'll remember that. There's a lot we're covering, so write this down, get engaged. And right at the front of the book, on this very first page, I want you to go, how many of you know what your current net worth is? Okay, no problem, cool, we'll cover that. You'll know by the end of the day what that is. So this is, your net worth is your assets, the investments you have, the value of those investments, minus what you owe, the debts, your liabilities. This is one of your most important numbers. In fact, you're going to discover it is your most important number for you tracking, your net worth. So if you don't know what it is, but if you were to guess roughly at its number, is it minus? Is it 0? Which is a pretty cool place to be, since 85% of the population never get out of debt in their entire lives. Terrifying. But that's not you guys. So write down a number of what you think your current net worth is. Maybe it's 0. Maybe it's 100,000, maybe it's 1 million, whatever it is. What is the value of any assets you have? And if you absolutely don't know, just write down a sexy number like 1 million, if you have no idea. Okay, so everybody write down a number. My net worth, or what I think my net worth is. Okay, so let me know when you've written down that number. My current net worth, and you can write down 15th of July, 2018. Has everybody got a number? Brilliant. Okay, so those just come in the room. Right in the front, we're just writing down whatever is your current net worth. If you don't know what it is, guess what it is. If you can't even guess what it is, make it up. Just write down 1 million. Okay, now I want you to times that number by 5. Now, if it's negative, I want you to make it a positive. Not multiply it by 5 negative. So I want it 5 times bigger. Whatever that number is, work out what that is. Get out your calculator. For those of you who've got your VIP bags, you've got a juicy calculator in there. Otherwise, use your phone. Times that number by 5. Okay, have you all got a number? Yes. Okay, cool. Write that number. Now, next to it, write reward. And at the top of the page, write your name. And that's saying that everything that you're putting in this workbook is worth that reward to you. And you'll pay that reward to anybody who brings you your book back if you lose it. And better yet, don't lose the book. Because this is seriously, seriously wealthy. And what you're going to be putting in that. So that is your book reward. So write your notes, keep it going, and really focus on that. So let's get the first part of our wealthy machine working for us. Let's get up. We need to move, get that energy going. So I want you all up. Where's my amazing Sibongile? Is she in the room? Where's Sibongile? Yeah, she knows this. She is good at this. Actually, Delene, you've been in FFU. Come on up. The amazing Delene! She's got an amazing story of all the assets she's created and what she's doing. So now success is learning. And when we start something, we're crappy at it. But we learn by doing things over and over and over again. So, follow along. We'll show you. Come on, we know how to do this. There we go. You're allowed to sing along. Oh no! Okay, I have to put this down when we play. Start again. Yes, Simogile, yay! Come on, this is amazing, Simogile. What are we watching, you? In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the dragon bodies, I can see it, I'll be back there. Well done, everybody! Thank you, Denise. How do you feel? God, now you know when you're unfit, when you can't even do a whole Wimba wear. But you see, right now we haven't quite got it. But by the end of today, by practice, by focused commitment, by knowing what we're wanting, we'll get there. So I know for many of you, it's your first time in the room with me, so welcome and so great to have you here. So I thought I'd just quickly share with you a little bit about who I am. So I'm Anne Wilson, I'm the author of The Welsh Chef. Some other books on the pipeline with Hay House, an amazing publishing house. I'm what I consider myself a financial empowerment activist, which is really helping people empower themselves and break free from the chains of that money has sort of wrapped around them. I'm a trainer and speaker. I do this. I've just got out of a little bout of flu, so that's why I'm going to have to get somebody else to do a Wimba wear for me, I think. I love life. I'm a life explorer. I love being able to travel and see amazing things around the world. And I am financially free. What that means is, thank you! And you know what I attract? I've got a unique ability. I attract amazing people in my life. Thank you for that. You know, I look around this room, I know that my team, my staff, my business partners, the people at Financial Freedom University, they are extraordinary. I attract extraordinary, big-hearted people into my life that just are really committed to their extraordinary life. And I'm saying that because I just want to thank you, because in so many places, I wouldn't get that applaud. And you wouldn't get that applaud. And that's why it's so important that you keep surrounding yourself with amazing people. So thank you. But it absolutely wasn't always the case. And you know, I grew up in KZN, in KwaZulu-Natal, Durb's Chicks, and I was number 5 of 6 kids. Yeah, that's me on my dad's lap. I think that's what happens when you have 6 children. And you're going like, how the hell am I going to feed all these, educate all of them? And very much that is the message I sort of grew up with. Money was tight. There was a lot of stress around it. Dad worked extraordinarily hard. And often he was just often really sick, ill from ulcers and stress. And there was almost this message of finances came at a deep cost. How many of you have sort of seen that or experienced that in your life? It comes at a cost of health, of emotional well-being. And my father died young. I think as a cumulative impact of just so much of the stress. But my mum had always looked after the kids. He had looked after the money stuff. And now my mum had to deal with the money stuff day to day and the future. And I watched another layer of anxiety and stress around this thing called money because she had never been taught how. what to do with it. Extraordinarily, fortunately, my father had put together a small portfolio of shares, of stock market investments, these assets. And these were actually the things that supported my mum and allowed her to continue to survive and live. But she had no idea who could she trust. You know, financial advice,